Good afternoon, viewers at home. You're watching the Heroes Lounge Rare Cup. I'm Karis, and joining me today is Shadow Writer.
Yep, that is me. I just woke up. I am sleepy. I'm excited. I'm a mixture of emotions. Karis, how are you feeling and what do we have for today?
Oh, I'm feeling excited, although I also just woke up. We've got an excellent day of Heroes Lounge Rare Cup action ahead of us. So, for those of you who don't know, how do we get here? Well, the Rare Cup is formed from Divisions 6 and 7. The top 8 teams from each of those divisions went through to the group stages, and they've been fighting in those group stages for the last 3 weeks. And the top 8 teams from those groups have come through today to today's knockout format. Best out of 8 competition. We're going to have 4 quarterfinals up first, which are each best of 3 series. Then they'll go through to there's 2 semi-finals, also best of 3, and then the grand final to determine the winner of the Heroes Lounge Rare Cup, which will be a best of 5 series later today on this channel. So first up today, we have got Forum and Ähre versus
Neode Karis versus Broken Mirror.
That's absolutely right. And and we're going to have that in just a couple of minutes. But we will first take a look at the map bans to see which maps have been banned by the 2 teams going into this game number 1. So we can see that Brax's Holdout has been banned, along with Volskaya Foundry, and of course Towers of Doom and Infernal Shrines. And for the map pick for the first game, we're going to Cursed Hollow here. What do you make of Cursed Hollow, Shadow?
I mean, it's obviously one of the oldest maps in the game itself. So very well known by our players, I would assume. And it's a very big map. It's a 3-layer map, and it's one of the biggest there is. And you know me, I like size. Size matters. So big maps. I favor global presence on maps like that. So things like Volstad, the Hacker, everything like with a global Z ability gets a lot of value. You can throw in Brywing as well for good measure. Vikings even, Abatha. So I would expect to see some of that.
Yeah, I think we might see some of that macro style. I mean, don't forget these teams may just play what they know, play standard. So nothing. I mean, there's just different ways of playing Cursed Hollow. I used to call it the traditional HOTS map. I suppose that got overtaken a bit by Infernal Shrines, but you really can play it just not play it normal in inverted commas and just play for that tribute control. You can also, as you say, see some of that more macro style with the Abatha, with the Vikings, whatever, to Hacker. So we may see some of that coming into play as well. My guess is these teams are probably pretty flexible. These are the teams, definitely at the top of their game within Division 6 and 7. So unlikely to see them make too many egregious errors. But of course, we'll have to see what happens when we get into the draft.
Yeah, like you pointed out, our German team, whose name I am unable to currently pronounce, did come first in their respective Division 6. And I think Broken Mirror came, they placed within the top 5 of their respective Division 7. I think they came 4th, I believe, with a slightly lower win rate in comparison to the German team. But both of those teams very much, I don't want to say dominating the division, but like definitely, winning it overall. So it should be an interesting match. Broken Mirror, of course, they are a team of free agents, so perhaps coordination is going to be a bit harder for them because obviously they didn't know each other before they got put together, right, Karis?
Yeah. So I think teams are going to be interested to see what happens here. But let's see what happens as we head into the draft in Cursed Hollow.
Here we are.
The Hacker, it's interesting you mentioned the Hacker Shadow because those of you who watched the Season 13 draw show, which we had a few weeks ago to decide the groups, we had some stats breakdowns on the different divisions there. And actually, the Hacker was kind of a dark horse within the Rare Cup in that he wasn't picked super highly, but he was picked reasonably often and had well over 60% win rate. Really one of the dominant heroes in win rate within Division 6 and 7. So I'd really be interested to see a Dahaka come out here because we know that these teams in these divisions really use him effectively. And, whether it's about maximizing that soak or making it suddenly a 5v4, it it could be interesting to see how they do that. And Nubrak as well is another dark horse for those divisions. So we might see him picked up for the tank. And I was about to say for the healer, Deckard Cain is kind of the number one priority in this division. Yes, Ana is still very universally popular, universally banned, but Deckard Cain with like some ridiculous win rate in Division 6 and 7, well over 60%. So glad to see them banning that out there.
I mean, 60% plus win rate is very good. And I mean, even after the, I think last or second to last patch when Ruby got nerfed after the buff, Deckard is still very viable, both in terms of the crowd control he brings to the table and the healing output. He's got very flexible builds. He can spec into pretty much almost anything to make up for the enemy team composition. And yeah, I'm not surprised to see him ban. And the counterban to that from Broken Mirror is Imperious. So they're a bit afraid of that slightly older style Imperious damage in your face, which is, I mean, respectable. Imperious deals a lot of damage, even these days.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, so by the way, we will have in just a few minutes a betting contest on who you think will win game number 1. That's not up yet. We'll get that up and running shortly. But yeah, I mean, I absolutely agree. Look, the Imperious has got to be something that they're afraid of, and that's why they've banned it here. D.Va, though.
Do you know what's not getting banned? Or Gazlo.
Oh, Gazlo is through? Yes, sorry, I didn't even spot that. That's a good point. Gazlo's gone through here for the two teams. So,
It's an Ana pick though. Interesting. So Ana is one of those few healers that are very, very high skill cap. That it's going to be. I'm definitely going to be paying attention to this Ana, as she can probably make or break a game for your team. It's definitely one of the healers with the potential to do so.
Yeah, and I think it's the right to ban that. To pick that. Outcomes Joanna and Tassadar in response, though. So they've got a very strong mage there with the Tass, not wanting to allow that nano boost Tass for him and Ähre on the left there. But I mean, it does leave open quite a few options. I mean, I'm surprised we haven't seen. They could even prioritize that Dahaka early in the draft. But probably what we'll see here to go with Yana is some kind of mage, probably a Li Ming.
Yeah,
there she is, of course. And ETC in response for the tank. Yeah, ETC is a bit more controlled by Joanna than maybe some of the other tanks. I think he'll still, Sergeant Hater will still be confident going into this draft with an ETC. So now both teams have a very similar kind of draft. I wonder if we'll see kind of a healer choke in this second ban phase. I mean, what do you think, Shadow, for this second ban phase?
Well, they've banned out the Deckard and they've prioritized their own healer, so I deem it very likely for them to look to ban something else that's currently very predominant in the meta, like Stuko, for example, or even Malfurion, as he's always a good a healer to have on your team. The ETC pick is something that's interesting for me. I mean, we don't see stage dive often, but I'm a big believer, and if there's a map to go for stage dive, it's this one, especially given the Joanna potential to disrupt Mosh Pit. It's a grey main ban, however. That's interesting.
That is interesting. I'm not 100% sure why that is. I guess obviously Ana doesn't want to get dived. And of course, with the Tassadar and the Greyman, you have a lot of potential burst there, but I am slightly surprised by that. But they've got Lucio. So we love Lucio, and there's a Dahaka. That's the draft for me right there.
Right, yeah.
For anybody who can't see on screen, by the way, the teams are Forum and Ähre on the left, and Fat Broken Mirror on the right. Yeah. So Lucio, absolutely. Look, he's going to facilitate some dive on Ana, so that's one reason he's good. And he's going to go in there with the hacker. But also, don't forget, Lucio's main burst protection is a shield, and that isn't countered by Ana's healing grenade. And that's one of the key reasons why I think Broken Mirror have gone for the Lucio there as the counter healer to Ana.
Do you know what, Karis? That's a very good point. I didn't think of that. That's actually that's very smart. And here's why I should play Lucio more, because as you say, it's very good against the mechanics of Ana. Now, they've got spot for one more DPS, Broken Mirror that is, and they're gonna be going up against the Malthel and Leoric double bruiser composition. It's a 0-2 to put even more pressure on that Anna. What do you make of that? Very aggressive draft.
That is a very aggressive. Look at the dive potential there. And the question is, what can ETC actually do about it? Here's the thing. Both Lucio and Zeratul can die basically instantly if they get CC'd. And so all the pressure is now on the tank of Sergeant Hater. If he catches that slide onto Lucio or onto Zeratul, the follow-up damage that's going to come out from Li Ming, possibly with the help of a sleep from Anna to set everything up in place, bang, Lucio can be dead so easily. And that is the weakness of Lucio. He has to get all up in their grill, and if he gets CC'd, he can die very, very easily. On the other hand, if he doesn't get that slide off, they're going to run amok. They're going to ruin Anna's life. Maybe they ruin Li Ming's life as well. And Lucio's got that kind of protection a little bit to deal with the Malthale and the Leoric kill flanking as well. So it does definitely come down onto execution this draft. But, my money, Shadow, would still be on that team on the right with the Dahaka for that Broken Mirror.
Yeah, I want to put some virtual points on them as well. Is our betting up, Karis?
It is not yet, but it will be before the game actually starts. I am reliably informed. But we will. Yeah, we'll have to see. We'll have to see how that goes. But I mean, yeah. What do you think, Shadow? What is the overall flavor for this draft?
I mean, I think our German team went for like a more solid defensive draft, and obviously the red team went for a more aggressive one. Either way, we're gonna find out as we head into game number one. Karis, do you want to introduce us?
Yes, and on the left in blue we have Fahum and Ähre with Arligan playing Leoric, Sergeant Hater on ETC, Kazim on Malthale, Soft Ice on Li Ming, and Herzi on Anna.
And on the right, we've got Neptibus picking up that 0-2 Scissor rather 45 on the Dahaka, Arkness on Joanna, Skameka on Lucio, and Have bringing up the rear on that Protoss boy Tassadar.
Yeah, absolutely. So straight away, let's look at these level 1 talents that are coming in. And you can see nothing too surprising here so far. I like the Force Armor from Li Ming just to provide her a bit more protection from that Tassadar and the Zeratul burst as well. So nice little pickup there by Soft Ice. Already the brawl though, and look at this slide in from ETC onto the Tassadar, putting a lot of damage there, and Have's got to be careful, but Lucio there with a cheeky bit of peel as well as the heals. Save Tassadar for now.
Yeah, that's the Force Wall almost worked against him as a it let ETC dive Have there in the backline of the mid position, and I think as a result the blue team might have lost a minion or two of experience on bot, but I'm not sure.
Yeah, I think maybe minion XP does look neck and neck so far. Zeratul flirting with Li Ming there. Soft Ice got to be a bit careful, but this is an early game Zeratul. It's not the end of the world, and of course with that Force Armor, Li Ming will be fairly safe once those missiles hit, get her some spell armor stacks. Now, I think the big difference in terms of soak this game is going to come from the fact that Dahaka's got this different global potential from Leoric. But Leoric, don't forget, he can rotate pretty fast as well, and he's got insane wave clear potential post level 4. So we can expect to see a real battle of ideas there in the off lane. But already the red team starting to pick up their siege camp here. Fat Broken Mirror knowing their prioritization of that camp, and of course the blue team picking up their bruiser camp. So playing fairly simple, playing solid camp countdowns, because of course that first tribute is in the bottom lane.
Yeah, and talking about different ideas, here it's a very good example of seeing how the two teams approach the game slightly different. Of course, the German team prioritizing the bruiser camp for that push on middle, whereas the Broken Mirror, knowing that they're not going to get much value out of their siege camp on bottom, as that's where the tribute spawn, they opted to go for that camp early. And of course, they have a 0-2 and a Tasta who are not the greatest camp clears, so delaying that bruiser camp for them makes sense. In the meantime, we see the German team pushing for the red wall here, but ETC coming a bit low, and the camp is almost clear, so I don't think they're going to get too much value with it, although they did get some damage, so...
Yeah, I think that's about what they were expecting to get. It's not just, of course, the fact that they got the damage, but they forced in fact Broken Mirror to respond there, because otherwise they would have lost more. ETC slides, get some to Joanna. Not in too much danger now, but now we see the second wave of camps, of course. Broken Mirror going for their bruiser camp, and Malthale there on the left going for that siege camp that will go in the top lane whilst this tribute is being fought over in the bottom. But here's the thing, the Hacker's got that global to deal with it.
So let's see how patient the hacker can play, and of course a lot will depend on whether Lorik wants to make the rotation down or if he will choose to stay in the lane and soak, which will then put the choice, excuse me, on the hacker whether he wants to join his team for a 5v4 but risk losing a little bit of experience and perhaps letting the Siege Giant push. And actually the hacker currently a bit outtraded in terms of health. He will have to tap, so we won't have that available for the tribute.
There's a cheeky bush waiting for... Oh, they decided to give up on that and just go towards tribute. They were... Broken Mirror were waiting in the bush, just threatening. But Li Ming...
Is Li Ming gonna get out of there? There's a storm. No, she walks out half HP, saying not even close, Broken Mirror, not even close.
It was in... It was almost close. I would say it was close. But it was all weather on that wall had shut her door completely, but it did not... So she was able to get out. But look in the top lane here, Dehaka versus Leoric. They're having a good time. But Dehaka's having more of a good time than Leoric.
So coming up to end these good times, make it less of a good time for the hacker. But yeah, there is no crowd control in this gank, so I think the hacker just gets to walk out of here. Well, he's used his burrow, and Maltho is just showing now in lane. Does he have essence? He has a tongue. He's licking Leoric. He's in tower range now, and he does have essence, which will let him live for the time being.
Yeah, and of course, Dehaka has gone for the regen build with the Hero Stalker, so he's going to have his essence up and running just by flirting with Leoric for most of this game. So nothing really lost for Dehaka there, and I like the use of Burrow to dodge the suck. In the mid lane here, they're looking a bit of pressure. There's the sleep onto Tassadar. Can that set up Malthael to come in? Comes in, puts a bit of damage on Tassadar. Actually, Kazim is the one who's got to be careful because actually Tassadar was never in huge amounts of danger there.
No, I don't think there was a power slide, but in the meantime, Leoric doing the tribute in the back. Of course, that means the blue team is now losing experience on top, which I assume Maltho or Leoric are going to go to the top lane ASAP to counter that. And Leoric is heading up on there.
Yeah, absolutely. But Leoric will continue there. But in the mid lane, though, look at this engage onto Tassadar. The grenades there as well. There's nothing left to peel. Yeah, he's going to fall down. There's the sleep. Secure the kill, but maybe Malthael dies in response. No, it's Lucio. Lucio dashes out on 100 HP. Very close there, stuff from these teams. But yeah, it's ultimately the blue team who gets the advantage there in that little skirmish.
Yeah, first blood going over to the German team, and that was a necessary pick for them, I believe, because they were starting to fall behind in experience, and level 10 is just around the corner. Next tribute is spawning. That was very crucial for the blue team to make something happen on that mid lane, and they did. So now it's an even game. Lucio is channeling the tribute in the back. Maltho looking for an interrupt, but brilliant zoning from Johanna might be enough. No, it's barely not enough. The mosh pit comes through. Johanna's in, and Lucio can't boop it away. The shield up, however, is enough to keep Johanna alive, and ETC is actually falls down with Maltho dealing a lot of damage. That might mean Johanna goes down as well, but instead he gets focused, and it's 2 picks for nothing in favor of the red team.
Yeah, and it's still going on, by the way, because Leoric's sucking off the hacker, but I don't think he's going to be able to do much to get the kill there. So yeah, it's just going to be 2 for nothing, and they do secure that tribute on the side of Fat Broken Mirror. And it all came down to that use of Mosh Pit to just try and catch the Johanna gank, but Lucio was just sitting on the other side of the wall, safe with houses, just ready to give the shield when necessary. And we saw exactly as I was saying in the draft setup, Anna used the grenade to stop the Lucio healing, but then Lucio just presses the sound barrier, and what are you going to do against that shield? They didn't have anything. The other thing to note is that Malthael has gone for the Tormented Souls, and the idea is to go for this Nano Boost Tormented Souls idea, which, you know, you love to see it, but also you've got Nano Boost Li Ming as potential. Oh, sorry to interrupt myself, but there's an Entomb at the top lane. They're trying to
attack and a grenade. There's the ETC with the crowd control, but I think he gets the hacker does get out, and he even puts some damage with the help of the towers onto Leoric.
But in the mid lane, sorry to interrupt, Shadow, but in the mid lane, they're going counter gank on Kazim and Malthael. Beautiful decision making by Fat Broken Mirror. The moment they see resources committed top, they switch to bot, and the hacker comes with a tongue onto ETC here. Johanna, though, gets caught out. In comes the damage from Tassadar. The sound barrier, though, perfectly timed, holds Johanna alive, and now ETC silenced by the isolation from the hacker, who's just walking all up in their grill, creating so much trouble. Anna's got to run. Li Ming's got to run. The hacker's 1v3ing right now.
Yep, everyone is running afraid to commit against Azerato. It was a 4v5 situation from the beginning after that pick on middle lane, and ultimately Broken Mirror get themselves a early first curse and almost a whole level experience. Let's see how much they can make out of this early curse. If they get that ETC, that's big. Zeratul is chasing Sergeant Hater. He almost gets him, but is unable to confirm it. Walks out for the time being, but lanes are being pushed down. Karis, how does the blue team respond here?
It's tough for them to say. I mean,
Oh, that sleep is a good start.
That's an absolutely huge sleep, but they were afraid to follow up because they were only three, and they were down a talent. But ATC does go for this slide, catches onto Joanna. She's got her Iron Skin available. She's going to be pretty healthy for now. And of course, they've still got the curse advantage for another 24 seconds. This mid fort seems likely to go down, but actually they're backing off. They want to secure somewhere else. But in the meantime, of course, in the bot lane, Dehaka soloing Malthael. I have to say, this Dehaka value already being huge this game, Shadow.
Yeah, Scissor 45 showing us how the hacker is played. Mad Lab, absolutely. And I think bottom fort might not go down this curse, but middle fort will. And bottom, of course, will be very low, susceptible to a later sniper, perhaps even a boss steal that will come. Well, actually, no, I think the bottom fort is going to go down. The hacker able to stay in those extra few seconds and confirm the fort. So 2 structures down already for Team Broken Mirror, and I'm betting they're feeling very confident right about now.
Yeah, I think they're looking pretty solid so far here. It's not just, of course, the kills advantage, but it's the structure, as you say. They've got the 2 structure lead will slowly tick into level leads as well. So bear in mind they've already got a 1 level lead. We typically use the rule in the mid game. 1 fort gives you an extra level every 5 minutes of trickle XP, roughly. So, Lucio's sliding in, looking for Leoric, but he has his Wraith Walk, safe as houses, but will they use that to push the top 4? I don't know. Yeah, so, I mean, with 2 forts advantage, you know, every couple of minutes they're going to be getting an extra level in trickle XP. Maybe they will find it harder to soak the minion XP in response, but still, it is going to turn into an XP lead. And if we take a look at the XP figures right now on screen, you can see that the hero XP is a big factor. Sorry to interrupt myself again. They're going in for ETC. Shadow, what's going on here?
Yeah, ETC is going to walk out for the time being. Both teams within their respective teams camp spell armor, so they don't want to commit to a fight necessarily. The red team cleared their enemies' bruises first, so they have that 20 spell armor advantage right now, and Joanna is looking for that fight. However, Moshpit's off cooldown. Blessed Shield cannot come out quite yet. In danger of the Mosh Pit, but Blessed Shield did come out, so Mosh Pit now is the free ability, and Doom doesn't confirm anything in the bottom, so I think this is going to be nothing for nothing. But of course, in the meantime, the hacker soak in top, and that experience gap is growing larger and larger still.
This is one. Okay, so they're playing. Fabric and Mirror are playing this so expertly. I love everything about it. It's because the fact that they have the hacker, they're trying to avoid fights when they don't have a talent advantage. And the way they're doing that is using that Lucio speed to kind of be very fluid while the hacker's just constantly soaking. Also, the hacker is also a menace to the risk of coming in at any moment. So, of course, Thorhum and Ähre have to be careful about that whilst still wanting to take fights, as you say, before the 16 comes in. Now the 16's in. Zeratul, though, is he in danger here in this bot lane? He's a little bit out. There's the slide, but the medallion from Zeratul gets him safely to that gate. And now there's going to be a 16 versus 15. The medallion popped even by Anna. Moshpit, though, onto 2 members. Booped by Lucio. Lovely play here. In comes the Malthael, but absolutely melted here by the red team. And they might not be able to get any more, but they're going to be happy with that already, Shadow.
Oh yeah, they're gonna be happy. A talent tier ahead, getting a free tribute, and perhaps looking at the boss after a pick. That might be a bit too risky, but they're definitely looking for that ETC, and they're gonna find him. Brilliant lick from the hacker there, putting his tongue all over that cow. Sergeant Hater might actually still make it out. No, hold that thought. Zeratul blinks on top of him, kills him, and this is where Zeratul starts getting dangerous in the late game. And of course, the immediate boss goal after the staggered death time was there for Broken Mirror, and they are going to secure that boss without too much trouble. And already rotating mid to look for some soak, I guess, and Leeming very, very carefully staying in the area, not wanting to risk a death. But this is an immediate double boss for Broken Mirror, and that should open up the top lane as well.
Yeah, I mean, this is everything that's just happened from Fabric and Mirror. They look so razor sharp with this. I love the way they're using the Lucio kind of both aggressively and defensively. They're using the hacker for soak, and when they need to, they bring him in at a moment's notice. And that coordination, that's not easy to do, to synchronize that level of engage with the team. And I have to say, a lot of it pivots around this Lucio playstyle of being so mobile. And when they need to, we saw that they use that speed to catch up, catch ETC or whoever it is, and get themselves some kills. And it doesn't seem like for Ähre have the answers so far. Yes, they've got this Malthael Li Ming combo, so potentially they could blow up a single target, but they haven't managed to do that so far because the red team is just so fluid, so mobile, and keeping them guessing all of this game. I mean, look where Lucio is right now.
Yeah, Lucio is just going in no man's land, looking for an interrupt. There comes the Moshpit again, instantly interrupting Malthael's in with that nano boost, looking for having the background, but Archon comes through, and suddenly it's the blue team. Or excuse me, it is the red team who are backing away, but Malthael unable to confirm a kill. He might actually fall down again. No, brilliant sleep onto the Tasta there. 2 kills picked up by the blue team, finally feeling some wind in their sails, but the top lane, Karis, the top lane, the boss is pushing in.
Yeah, it's still going. It's still got half health, so there's not really much to... Oh, the slide!
That's very dangerous. Oh, he does go down. What killed him? I think it was Malthael dot damage.
It was Malthael, but it's crucially the grenade from Ähre stopped him from healing that with his essence, which he was desperately trying to do. So a nice little pickup there for them. They've got themselves well and truly back into this game. Lovely fight there for Ähre. And, you know, this time we saw the aggression of Lucio, you know, was good to insert the Mosh in that big fight. And it wasn't quite so effective because it actually left the backliners more vulnerable to that Malthael sustained damage with the Tormented Souls and stuff. And
yeah, this was the first time I think that we actually saw that Malthael Tormented Souls Nano Boost idea come actually to fruition. I think is how you pronounce that word in English properly. Regardless, next tribute is coming up on that top lane, and if the German team manages to take control of that tribute, they will get their own curse and perhaps start evening the game out. And they're already in position. Lucio lagging a bit behind. Can the red team contest?
They may well do. Joanna has to use her Iron Skin here just to interrupt. Entomb onto Tassadar, but the hacker comes in, wants to provide a peel, but the Tormented Souls is going absolutely crazy in the backline here. Already, Joanna's in trouble. She doesn't have much left. In comes DTC looking for the Mosh Pit, but it does get
the reset.
Short cooldown. Tassadar, are you next?
Zeratul walks out with 50 HP, but what a slaughterfest. Everyone was grouped up for that Malthael's ultimate value, and it was huge. I mean, Dasta had a cute play where he walled the entrance to his Entomb, and he was, as you say, Kara's safest houses in that little Entomb. It was a 4-way Entomb, and no one could get to him, but it wasn't enough in the end.
Yeah, I mean, so what seems to be happening is when Fat Broken Mirror have kind of skirmish in and out Genki style fights, they're absolutely winning in those 1v1 pickoffs. When it's a sustained all-out brawl, Malthael is just getting free real estate here for Ähre, and it doesn't seem like they have all the answers on the side of Fat Broken Mirror, because they, in terms of CC, hard CC for Malthael, they don't have much. They've got the hacker, whose tongue is, you know, it's hard to hit down a Malthael who's very mobile.
The fort on the middle is still up. I don't think you can cork that yet.
Yeah, slight miscommunication from them there. They didn't realize the fort's still alive, so they couldn't.
Oh, they're gonna go and rectify that right now. But yeah, I think it will be a bit too late for...
Yeah, exactly. Now Fat Broken Mirror are respawning. Yeah, Sergeant Hater says, "Lol, he knows what
he knows what happened."
I think it's happened to all of us once or twice.
Oh yeah.
But so it all comes down to whether they can control that that Malthael, and I'm not sure they have the necessary CC to do that. Because the tongue, you know, they've got the tongue and the isolation, but those are very hard to hit on a Malthael.
There's Radiating Faith, of course, but now we've got Nano Infusion on level 20, but hold that thought for a second as Joanna is controlling 4 men at the bottom there. The team fight, and Yorick goes down, but the Morphine is absolutely crazy. Joanna doesn't have anything to interpret with, and Li Ming is popping up, and that's a dead red team. Li Ming resets.
That deserves to win right there. What a mosh pit here from Sergeant Hater, because Joanna did such a great job of zoning all the others during the silencing Entomb, and I thought, is this the moment that they're about to win a fight? But because they were so clumped up chasing the Leoric, ETZ comes in, he gets that mosh pit, absolutely devastating. Joanna didn't have anything left to interrupt, and it was just free real estate once that happened. And this is going to be game number 1 by the looks of things, Shadow. I don't think they're respawning in time. What an absolutely sensational finish here from Sergeant Hater for Ähre.
Definitely not expected. I mean, Broken Arrow were looking very good, especially in that last team fight, up until they really weren't. And it turned out in the blink of an eye, GG is scored out, the red core is going down, and it is going to be game number 1 going over to our German team, whose name I still cannot pronounce. Karis, pronounce it for me, please.
For Ähre. So, I mean, I'm probably pronouncing that wrong, but I mean, beautiful finish there for them. I mean, you love to see stuff like that, and it's so it must be disappointing, right, for for Broken Mirror because they were doing so well all game, and with that skirmishy style they had, the in and out, shake it all about, the hokey cokey hots. The problem is when it came down to those late game team fights, we saw Malfail and we saw ETC providing so much value, and Joanna didn't really have enough to deal with with that threat they were both providing at the same time.
Yeah, that team fight was the last one, especially. It is something to study for both teams, I think. But I'm a big believer in stats. I was just having a quick look at stats, and Lyric actually managed to outsoak the hacker in the long run, which is very well done by Aligan or I think that's Aligan with an A. Yeah, on Lyric, actually outsoaking the hacker. Anytime you can achieve that, you should feel good about yourself. Give yourself a pat on the back.
Yeah. So that's beautifully done there by them. So, and the bets in terms of what people were betting on, it was 50-50. Teams were undecided, and I said Broken Mirror's draft looked really nice, and they had a really good idea. They executed it well for most of the game, but yeah, it's just didn't work out quite in the end.
No, it didn't. I think Broken Mirror, I feel like they should be happy with their performance overall. It just came down to that one big mistake they made in the late game in the team fight. So if they can just mentally reset and not feel like, oh, we had game number one and we threw it, just reset the whole attitude and go into game number two and just do what they did, roughly speaking, on game number one. I think that they still stand a pretty good chance to reverse sweep this best of three series.
Yeah, so it's not over yet, and we're about to have a short break just to check some technical issues. The stream may restart very briefly during that break. If it does, refresh your page after 20 seconds. We will be back very soon with game number 2 in this best of 3 Heroes Lounge Rare Cup quarterfinal. Don't go anywhere.